The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available on Amazon.
The Mike Wagner Show, also brought to you by The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, available on Amazon, highlighting the Book of David.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia, Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by our Sweet Psalmist, Special Raina Wagner, based on the life of David, including theories, quiz of pains, and King David Psalms. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com and on Linktree at the Mike Wagner Show. 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok today. We're here with an amazing lady who's an author and professor of paleontology and geology emeritus in the Department of Geosciences at Princeton University, and also has been tenured since 1984. So her work's been placed over 260 scientific publications in international journals and considered a leading authority on catastrophes, also mass extinctions, biotic and environmental effects of impacts and volcanoes. Talk more about that. She has a new book about betrayal, sabotage, perseverance, and the vindication, which is a front row seat to the greatest scientific discovery of our time. The book is called Last Extinction, The Real Science Behind the Death of the Dinosaurs. And live, ladies and gentlemen, plus studios in beautiful downtown Princeton, New Jersey, the amazing author, professor of paleontology and geology emeritus in the Department of Geosciences at Princeton University, tenured since 1984. The book is called The Last Extinction, The Real Science Behind the Death of Dinosaurs, the multi-talented Gerta Keller. Gerta, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. That was quite an introduction.
Well, I do. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I say thank you for the introduction.
Okay, well, it's great to have you on board as well, too. And of course, with your works, it does make mention as well. So you're an author and professor of paleontology and geology emeritus in the Department of Geosciences at Princeton University. You've been tenured since 1984. Your work has been placed over 260 scientific publications in international journals and considered leading authority on catastrophes, mass extinctions, biotic environmental effects of impacts and volcanoes. Your book is about betrayal, sabotage, perseverance, vindication, and also a front row seat to the greatest scientific discovery of the time, which a father-son team had fully proclaimed to have solved the most vexing problem, science, the death of dinosaurs. But you had a counterproof for that, and your book is called Last Extinction, The Real Science Behind the Death of the Dinosaurs. And before getting your book, Gerta, tell us how you first got started.
Okay, so the question is, where do you want to start?
Tell us how you first got started in your career.
In my career. In my geology career, it was at the time when the flower children were blooming.
Oh, my favorite time, yes.
And they actually made my entry into geology. All things, because I had visited the world, and I ended up in San Francisco sort of by chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a weird time, as you can imagine. And I watched. So I stayed in San Francisco for a while. And then these people were asking me, so what are you doing in science? And I said, I never did any science because I was a poor kid with no education.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, then just go to City College because at City College, um, you can just pass an entrance exam and see whether it works.
Okay.
And so I went to City College, and they gave me the entrance exam immediately, and I passed with flying colors. So
Nice.
I could go on from there. I even got a scholarship. And from then on, everything was going fantastic.
Uh-huh.
So that's it for the
Oh,
beginning.
oh, wow. You certainly had a really good journey. And going back to it, what was that one exact precise moment that simply influenced you into what you do in the rest of your career?
Absolutely. It did not that I did much with the flower children, but I did a lot on science, and it was the most fantastic move I've ever made, which
Okay.
I could never have done before.
Uh-huh.
And so from there, I went from City College, I went to San Francisco State, and then to Stanford University.
Okay.
And we were actually, they had hired three women, the first three women at the time. And it was great. And after that, I went to Princeton a couple of years, and then I've been in Princeton ever since 1984.
Wow. That is so amazing. And he also did some writings, 260 scientific publications and everything else. And I guess, the one thing that I was going to ask about the book, and I guess the thing is that what prompted you to dispel the theory of what the father and son team did about their version of just discarding to death the dinosaurs.
Well, that came in 1980 exactly. It was summer. I don't remember the exact date. And I was working, I had finished my PhD. I was working at Stanford and at the Geological Survey. And I was out in the hallway with all these people that I had peeked out of my office, and there were at least 100 there, and all of them talked about an impact, a meteorite hitting the Earth and killing off the dinosaurs. And everybody shook their heads and said, impossible, this can't be. And and I thought, well, maybe there is something to it. And then I looked into it, but it didn't seem to line up.
Hmm.
And so I decided after studying it for a while that I should not work on dinosaurs because that's what I had wanted to do and I had planned to do and had started about a year and a half ago. And I decided I would simply stop and take a break for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then all this hoopla would blow over. And I could go back and do the real science.
Okay.
And, and then, well, the hoopla did not blow over. It has not blown over since for the last, well, still today for that matter.
Uh-huh.
And so I went back in and I did my science and I published my first paper about a year later. And it was, of course, the impact story. from the Alvarez. The Alvarez's obvious were, if I didn't mention it, Louis Alvarez, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, and Walter Alvarez, his son, a geologist. And so I published that book, not the book, but the paper. And I went to the snowbird meetings. Snowbird meetings are the ones in, God knows, where is Snowbird? Snowbird is up in the mountains in Utah. Yes.
Oh, in Utah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was supposed to give my talk. And one of the impactors who I had known, he is maybe a year or two earlier than my age. And he basically, I talked to him before the meeting, and I told him over a lunch that I should tell him that I discovered that there was not quite the extinction that he is thinking of.
Okay.
And he was very quiet, and then he said, "Show me the data."
Okay.
So I was dumb enough to show him the data, the unpublished data, even before the meeting. And he kind of paled when he looked at it all. And then he got up and he said, "I've got to go."
Oh.
And he ran out. And then the meeting started. And I got up and started with my talk. At the first talk, somebody was the guy who introduced me called me George Keller.
Mm-hmm.
Keller. So this was George Keller, and everybody looks at me and laughs because I didn't quite look like George. So, so then very quickly, people were lining up at the podium, about 15 of them, and just waiting to the podium is for asking questions after the talk.
Mm-hmm.
But that did not happen.
Uh-huh.
I gave a talk, maybe I was in for 10 minutes, and the person who stopped and walked out of my lunch meeting, he was in the front of the podium, of the questions there on the podium. And then he asked, and he started criticizing, and eventually it ended up a screaming match for 15 minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
And I never really got to finish the talk.
I guess he couldn't admit he was wrong. I gotta say that. So
They will never admit anything wrong.
right. Yes. So I guess the big question is, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying.
I was going to say they have never admitted to anything wrong. They simply hold on to their theory, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so the one big question we're wondering is, what really caused the dinosaurs to be extinct? We'll find out in a few moments with author Gerta Keller of The Last Extinction, the real science behind the death of the dinosaurs. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews. An Evil Evan endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Suspense, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David and Queen, theories, quiz of pains, and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives new perspective of David through Psalms he wrote, and as the time of shepherd started, and complicate yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and our link tree at the Mike Wagner Show. 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok today. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the amazing author and professor of paleontology and geology emeritus in the Department of Geosciences at Princeton University, 10 years since 1984, and the author of the book, The Last Extinction, The Real Science Behind the Death of the Dinosaurs, Gerta Keller here on the Mike Wagner Show. And the one question that needs to be answered as well, and I'm pretty curious about that one. You talked about the theory that the 2 gentlemen claimed that the asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs, but really, what was the real cause of the dinosaurs to become extinct?
The real cause of the death of the dinosaur was volcanism in India. Okay. Large volcanic eruptions that have been going on for at least 700,000 years. But accelerated near the end when the mass extinction occurred.
Okay.
And it was not an asteroid that hit the Earth at that point. At that age, the asteroid hit 200,000 years earlier. And that is the problem why I'm so hated by the impactors.
Because you did some research that the asteroid hit Earth 200,000 years earlier, but yet it's like, were dinosaurs still active at the time, or were they still?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. They were active at the time when they hit, but they killed the dinosaurs. Essentially, were going out slowly, not on us suddenly, because climate had changed. And so, like for example, and of course in India in particular, there are thousands and thousands, well, tens of thousands of dinosaur eggs, and they never hatched. The reason is, but because basically because the volcanic eruptions caused a lot of poisons, but the poisons actually did not kill them, but it was the gases that thickened the shells, the egg shells, and it thickened them so much that they could never poke through the eggshells. And so they all died.
Okay.
So that was the death of the dinosaurs, and the reason pretty much for it, as of course, and most important, the volcanic actions that were so rapid and literally killed everything else almost.
Mm-hmm. And did it say what was that certain chemical or the certain gas that caused the eggs to thicken and kill? What was that one particular gas that really killed them off?
What killed them off is that the shells themselves, as the eggs were growing, the shells were hardening because of all the heat, probably, and it wasn't so much the chemicals that killed them off, because until the end, it was actually just all the action that was going on.
Okay. So it wasn't a particular gas, chemical, or anything like that. It was just a combination and causing the eggs to thicken. So it was a combination. It wasn't one particular gas, chemical, or anything like that.
No, there are many, many different gases and chemicals throughout the volcanic actions.
Okay.
But it's not one kind.
Okay. And what was that part? What was the other evidence that you actually did uncover and look in the first place and everything? So what was some of the evidence that really uncovered it?
Well, the evidence that we uncovered was basically leaving away the dinosaurs. We were looking at what really happened in Mexico. Because Mexico, that's where basically it was on Yucatan where the volcanic, not the volcanics at this point, but where the impact's supposed to have happened. And almost everybody still believes that now because of the Alvarez's impact theory, which has never changed. So what we did with my team is look at virtually every locality we could find, and there were literally hundreds, where we have impact glass spherules, that is, where the impact actually hit Earth, and it caused these little tiny melt rock spherules from glass, which then rained back to the Earth. And we had found many of them, but there were three localities in Mexico where we discovered that they were absolutely pristine. They had never been changed. It's been the same as it is today. And we dated them with various dating methods. And guess what? We found that these three localities all were of exactly the same chemical reaction, the same spherules, melt rock, and everything, and they had never been changed on Earth, other than in those. And we did more dating of that from using the volcanic reactions in India. And that was fantastic because in India, there is this mercury that will blow around the Earth when the eruptions happen. And then within about 6 months or so, they will fall down to Earth and around the Earth because it blows them around.
Mm. So it's a mercury is one of the causes. The mercury just coming up and swirling and everything like that, and that's was like a prime cause, or was like one of the
It,
more significant contributing factors to deaths.
no, it's not the prime cause. It is just the fact that it blows into the atmosphere and it will eventually, within 6 months or so, fall back down. And then you can find it all over the world.
Oh wow!
And then you can date them. That's what we did. That is actually one of my colleagues who is really the best person who actually invented this mercury method. And we had worked on that, and it is really coming back to the extinction before sidetracking on this one. So we dated then these mercury fallout, and we got the precise age, as close as we can get.
All based on mercury, right?
All based on mercury data.
Wow, yeah. Interesting.
And so and not only that, these 3 localities that we had were one was they were all in different localities, but the important one in the end, excuse me.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
The most important one. Oh, I made noise there.
Okay.
Yes. In the end, the important ones were. Now I flipped. Okay. Yes.
I think you had about the mercury and the time, and I'm just trying to think.
Mercury and the timing for the age.
Okay.
And we found that, in fact, we have not published yet the final one. But we found that also that we now have all the data that you could possibly line up, and with proof that the impact actually occurred about 200,000 years earlier. And basically there is just such a ton of proof now that we can well, I can't release all of it, so let's not do that. There isn't any time anyway. But in any case, it is the most amazing discovery that we have all ever made with this data.
And now my question is that I'm thinking about this and this kind of thing with your conclusions, how you presented to the meeting, the summit with some of the people. You did have some hostile reactions to it. And do you think your conclusions and your presentations and everything else would have been received differently if you're a male? I know it's a ridiculous question, but that's kind of just crossed my mind. I had someone ask you that question, saying like, what if you're a man and present? It's like, would have been different, less hostile. It's like, I was thinking about this, like, what would have happened? Like dinosaurs, what if a dinosaur was still here?
True. And I can tell you that I was the only woman who dared to question the impactors. And that made me, of course, not, how shall we say, the worst person in the universe for them. All along.
I understand that feeling, yes.
And so it's, I survived anyway, because I'm a mountain girl. I grew up in Switzerland and in the mountains. And Swiss are people with hard heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of them. So.
Oh my gosh, that is something as well too. And of course, one of the questions I kind of wonder is, how do scientists get it so wrong, and what caused the dinosaurs to become extinct? Why do they keep getting it wrong? We'll find out 1 minute with author Gerta Keller of The Last Extinction: The Real Science Behind the Death of the Dinosaurs. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Brought to you by our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Mia Mulsizia Missing, the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 quiz of pains and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. We'll be back with the amazing author Gerta Keller of The Last Extinction: The Real Science Behind the Death of the Dinosaurs after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey there, Dana Alexa here, American News anchor. Hey, let me ask you something real quick. Why do you read a book? You're buying a story, a thought, a message. And a good book entertains and inspires. And that's exactly what Missing by award-winning author Mian Zia does. I have his book right here. And it's based on real events with relatable characters that hook you from start to finish. I personally love this book. It's super powerful and meaningful. You can actually get it on Amazon right now.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to the Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with author Gerta Keller of The Last Extinction: The Real Science Behind the Death of the Dinosaurs on the Mike Wagner Show. And Gerta, this kind of just, having a great conversation, really learning in depth about this. And I guess the big question is, scientists getting it so wrong, to what caused the dinosaurs to become extinct. Why do you keep getting it wrong when you've got the proof that it's correct? Why do you still attach that theory?
Because when you have worked on that theory for now almost for 45 years by now, how can anyone stick with it? Because what else is there?
Right.
After that many years. The good thing is, if you actually don't stick with it and look at new theories that have come around, new evidence, tons of evidence that have come around, then you always have to change your mind. But the impactors never change their minds. Absolutely never.
Right.
And that makes it a problem, even because we have accumulated so much data, so much evidence that well, I don't know how much further they can go.
Right. And of course, you had a lot of impactors back in the day to convince. Do you think there's more impactors in today's society, or you think it's been average, or had the number of impactors have decreased ever since, you listen to what really happened?
I think a lot of them, impactors don't change their minds, period.
Okay.
but I think there has been a significant decrease. And it happened the first time when we brought out our data, which was in 2003, for 3 types of evidence, including National Science Foundation drilling in Chicxulub, meaning in Mexico, at the impact site. And my team actually had the first proof.
Okay.
That was right. And for the impactors, this was a disaster. Was presented in it was presented in Nice, France, at a conference. It was the first and most famous way of presenting for AGU, meaning the American Geophysical Union versus the European Union together. At that time, I was giving Smith, my colleague, who was basically the one person who believes that the one person that gave the talk in believing that it was only the impact period. And I was the second one. And I gave them talk, and when I got up on the podium, and I just told them that I will have exactly the same samples that I was given, and I will tell exactly the opposite, because the data does not prove what is being said. And then it was just pandemonium that happened.
Oh, wow.
Of all things, there were just screams from the impact group. And they actually closed down the meeting.
Wow.
And they never really, well, it was such an enormous impact that we presented with this data, that they could not imagine that they could continue, and they closed it down.
Okay.
And they never opened that again, but 15 years later, they drilled again, and they came up with exactly the same wrong story.
And what was the exact wrong story?
That this was a group, a geophysicist from Texas, who was in charge of the drilling. And he took all the samples. It was exactly the same locale impact, but in a different locale, slightly offset from the same impact crater. And he simply would not allow anybody to analyze the samples, except a small group of people that works with him. And nothing else could ever be done.
Wow.
And there was no real science there.
And I can see why he can only show it to a small group of people. He don't want to admit they're wrong. That's what it sounded kind of like. We got to keep it tight. We got to keep it tight.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And then one last thing as well, too, was your discovery teaches us about greenhouse gas and climate change. That's our last question. What can we learn from it?
Yes. Greenhouse gases and climate change are, we worked on that for more than the impact time. And it is, and lately, of course, these days, everything is work on climate. It's amazing. Basically, what we did is after we had more or less completed most of the impact localities and volcanism. Then the question came, okay, where do we go from there? What really happened? Because we already knew that climate change was seriously changing in the last 10, certainly the last 10, 20 years. We've known that. And I already then took my students who work on impacts and volcanism, and they were hoping that there was not a mass extinction in brewing in our history, coming history.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it was getting more and more evident that the mass extinction of the sixth kind, ours, would possibly become very problematic.
Okay.
And possibly soon. In fact, after our first paper there, we are working now on the last one, which is part in the book, on the last pages. And that shows, in fact, that it is coming very much and very quickly, that our own mass extinction is in danger. It's not just the dinosaurs.
So in other words, it could be
Yeah.
us, the pets, the instincts, and every living thing, including plants, right?
Yes.
Well, like I said, brace for it, guys. Just brace for it. In the meantime, where can we find The Last Extinction, the real science behind the death of dinosaurs? Where can we find your book and all your works at, Gerta?
Amazon will be probably the easiest one,
Okay.
but it's all over the place.
Okay.
Actually,
And
every store.
okay. And how about your website and how do they get a hold of you, Gerta?
I think that they can get a hold of me on my, I would say not my website, because somehow Princeton University eliminated my website along
Uh-oh,
with
they could admit they're wrong, right? Oh, bunch of dinosaurs, I'll tell you. Well,
But my address is still at gkeller@princeton.edu.
okay, we want everybody to get in touch and check out her works as well. Check out her book. The amazing author Gerta Keller, the professor of paleontology and geology emeritus at Department of Geosciences, Princeton University. Gerta Keller and Mike Wenner's show with Last Extinction, the real science behind the death of dinosaurs, and just a few more things. Gerta, what else can we expect from you in the rest of 2025 and go into 2026 and beyond?
We are starting to continue working in India.
Okay.
Volcanism and various other problematic parts. I didn't mention to you, but I forgot about that. The impact which crashed into Yucatan 200,000 years earlier,
Mm-hmm.
that caused absolutely no extinctions.
Wow.
Zero. They still continued. There was a minor blip, no extinction, no nothing, and it returned to normal.
That is something. And blame the dinosaurs or not, that's certainly understandable too. So, and also, who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
My biggest influence in my career?
Mm-hmm.
Working with a lot of collaborators and students, particularly my PhD students, but also my undergraduates. I I think that's been the most fun of it all.
Okay. And of course, you can learn from students as well, too, which is great. And what's the best advice you can give the AIM by at this point?
Watch out for the next extinction.
Fingers crossed. That's all I can say about it. So that's great advice as well. Here's amazing author Gerta Keller of The Last Extinction, the real science behind the death of dinosaurs on the Mike Wagner Show. Gerta, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. I learned a lot. Looking forward to having him soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? And where can people purchase or check out your book?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And where can they purchase your book again, Gerta?
How about Amazon.com I would use.
Amazon.com. We'll certainly check that out. Once again, Gerta, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh, have you back. We wish you all the best. And Gerta, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey there, Dana Alexa here, American News anchor. Hey, let me ask you something real quick. Why do you read a book? You're buying a story, a thought, a message. And a good book entertains and inspires. And that's exactly what Missing by award-winning author Mian Zia does. I have his book right here. And it's based on real events with relatable characters that hook you from start to finish. I personally love this book. It's super powerful and meaningful. You can actually get it on Amazon right now.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.